Two experts who are joining us on the call today, and with my magic, I'll get them on the screen. We've got Warren Howard and Andrew Marmot. Welcome to the call, guys.
Hi, David. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. Look, I suppose today's topic, and I'm hoping people are actually seeing us. I never know with this technology. We're sitting here talking and looking at a computer. But look, the topic today is literally recruiting in today's economy. And it's interesting because I know, Warren, you're in the recruitment business. So for you, it's probably very, very direct in your face. Andrew, you're a marketer by trade, by nature. And I think marketing is becoming a key element of recruiting these days. So maybe let's just do a quick sort of synopsis of what you guys feel are the key elements. So if we talk about recruiting in the current economy, Warren, give us a snapshot of what's going on.
Hi, David. Thank you so much. As you say, we work a lot in this space. My business is all about helping our clients create high-performing, sustainable organisations that attract and retain the best people. And it's those two last items that are really the big challenges for most people at the moment, and that is attracting and retaining the right talent for their organisations. So we're working very closely with our clients. It's exciting, it's challenging, but there's certainly a silver lining in the cloud for those people who are doing it the right way.
Yeah, fantastic. And actually, we've just had AK join us on the other line, so I'm going to do my magic and see if I can bring him into this call. I really don't know how this is going to go, but...
Hey, guys.
AK! Is it AK? Can you please pronounce your name for us, eh?
Well, it's Akansh, but a lot of people struggle to pronounce my name, Akansh, so they just go AK. That's easy. I get AK-47 a lot, but yeah, without the 47, please. Thank you.
Awesome. So we're just talking about the topic for today, which is recruiting in the current economy, and Warren's joined us on the call, and so is Andrew. Warren is a recruiter by his very game that he's in, and we're just getting a snapshot of what's happening. Now, obviously, it's strenuous times. With the economy right now, and people are saying we can't find people. I don't know where they've gone, because I don't think that many people have left the country. I don't think that many people have retired. So there's a couple of elements, I think, that are causing the shortage of staff right now. I think the first one is this closing off of the international borders, which is easing. I think there's a secondary component, which is the unvaccinated versus the vaccinated, which is easing. So there's still pressures on recruitment, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely, David, you're absolutely right. I think, we probably now realise just how important skilled migration is to the economy and certainly to the labour market. And because when you turn it off, what we're seeing now is certainly a direct result of that. Yep. So that's one factor which is leading to a shortage in supply. Mm-hmm. The other obvious one is that there's just been a rapid increase in demand for labour. It's really absolutely taken off. And I was just looking at some statistics the other day from Seek, which said that in terms of growth in job numbers over the last 12 months, they've seen a growth of about 35% increase in the number of jobs advertised. Now, that's pretty big. Obviously, it came off for a low base. Yeah. But what's more important to what you were talking about there is the fall in the number of applicants. Right. And the number of applicants is down by 50%. So you can see that sort of, that pincer effect. So if you're in the industry, we're talking about professional services, and you're out there recruiting, you feel like you're only getting half the candidates that you used to, you're probably right, because there are only half as many people looking.
So how do you deal with that? Like maybe I'll switch to Andrew, who's really in the communication business. What are we doing if we're getting less candidates applying? Is it about reaching out further, or is it about better communication? What's your thoughts on this?
I think it's a little bit of, first of all, it is the communication. Yep. So people now, when they're looking to join a company, it's not just about the website. That's one validation, but it's also about you as a leader. So if you're running a business, they actually want to see, well, who is Warren? Who is AK? What do they talk about? Do I think that I can get along with them? What's their vision? Are they talking about things that I can see that I could work for? Does that make me inspired? What is something that they're doing that's changing the industry? So to me, where things have shifted in the last sort of 5 years is that it's not good enough to have a good company website and maybe have something that's fairly general. The battle for talent really starts with you as a leader and being willing to position yourself as that leader, as a specialist, as a futurist, and people will then buy into that. So I feel like that's something that leaders need to be aware of if they are struggling. Yeah. What are you doing to attract quality people?
Yeah, because I think part of the problem is that, as you say, there's less candidates than there ever was, which means how do I find people that aren't looking? And that's about that law of attraction, isn't it? So, AK, you're an interesting person to add to this conversation. 'Cause I know you run a portal for recruiting. Do you want to maybe give us a bit of an insight from your view of what's going on?
Sure, yeah, and I think you know it probably took us a pandemic to realize this, but obviously a lot of bad things happened to people during that time. But at the same time, you know, a lot of businesses have realized that they need to completely change their strategy now.
Yeah.
You know, and with the pandemic, with COVID-19, a lot of organizations, they had to refocus on how to keep their employees engaged, how to attract better people, and also a lot of transformation projects happening, because now they've got to get all these systems and processes in place in order to accommodate the changes that's happening within the environment. Right. So, and that's where one of the talent shortage also comes in, because we've seen where I am, because I'm into technology as well. IT recruitment was where I started like 10 years ago, predominantly within the SAP space, so ERP space, and then moved on more into the HCM, which is success factors, which is a huge, which has seen like a huge surge in demand at the moment.
Yeah.
Again, because organizations had to transform how they operate and engage with their employees. That's one factor. The other factor, and I'll come to the point where Andy mentioned about the communication thing, and he's spot on that as well, you know, about being a leader and how you attract those people. And that's a crucial point as well. I'll come back to that a little later. I think that comes to a point where it's more about retaining the right talent, you know. The talent shortage part, again, is now, you know, with a lot of flexibility that people have, and, you know, organizations are giving those flexibility, which is great. Now you've got more time to spend with family. You don't have to travel, you know, an hour to work every day, and you can plan your day around. It's more about deliverables, that you're delivering the result, rather than spending 9 to 5 in the office now, you know. A person who would be applying to 10 jobs previously is now getting 10 offers a day. You know, that's how the market is.
It's a big
right?
switch, isn't it?
So they've got a lot of choices, especially in technology. There's a huge talent shortage. As you mentioned previously, that you know, bringing people from overseas and all that, that kind of the COVID happened, and then no one was coming in. There's a huge shortage there. That's true, and that's, in fact, it's funny because we actually have about a dozen candidates that we're processing visas for right now. Right,
Yeah,
so
awesome.
we're bringing in talent from like India, South Africa, Philippines, Singapore, everywhere, anywhere and everywhere we can find.
Fantastic.
Right? So,
Look, I've got a comment that's come in from James Ealing, who's on the call. We've got a nice little chat window. He says, we look to attract people who aren't looking for a job. They tend to have longer retention with our company. We also look to build a bench of people who would want to work for us. So This is the idea of being proactive, right? And so rather than putting ads on Seek and waiting to see who shows up, who's looking for work, we are now going the other way, and we're saying we're going to go find the people we want, and we're going to put them in a holding pattern. And we're going to assess them to see if there's a fit within our organisation. So when we are looking, we've got a short list. Warren.
I think that's a great comment from that person listening in. And look, it's absolutely right. And I remember a number of years ago talking to an employer. They ran an aged care facility, one that was very, very highly regarded and a fantastic reputation for employee care. And I said, what's the secret to your success? And he said to me, always be hiring. He said, I'm always on the lookout for the right people. He said, it doesn't mean I pick anybody off the street. He said, but I know the sort of person who's going to work well for us. And I always keep my eyes out. I let people know I'm looking. And when I do find them, I find an opportunity to bring them on board. He said, it might be part-time, might be casual, but I get them on board. So, you know, that concept of always be hiring, I've always kept that in mind. And reminding people, the worst time to be hiring is when you actually need someone. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I often ask this question when we talk to people who we coach, and we say, when's the best time to recruit? And the short answer is when the right person's sitting across the table from you. And it's not to do with whether I can afford their wage or whether I'm busy or whether I'm quiet. It's literally having the right person. And I think we're in a market now where people are choosing. I mean, the sentiment is clear. People are saying, I'm going to decide where I work, right? And I'm going to decide based on whether I agree with what your company stands for, whether I buy in on your vision, whether it's attractive as a place to work. And so I think if we talk about what people should be doing, right, because recruiting in today's economy is different. You know, we had a look at this for a client who wanted a marketing manager, and we looked at Seek, and there's 1,700 Seek posts for marketing managers right now. So he would be 1,701. It's saturated. And the reality is that with the shortage, just making more noise just becomes super expensive. How should people be approaching this right now? Like, what's the things they can do immediately to start improving that performance? Because becoming attractive as a business is a big job, right? Changing the philosophy.
I think there's a couple of things that people can do, and I'll just throw these in, let the other guys have a go too. Yeah. But first of all, coming back to Andrew's point, I think your reputation in the market is the number one. Because we advise job seekers to go out there and do their research and look for the companies they want to work for and apply to them.
Yeah.
So have a look at everything that is sending a message to your market about your company, your employer brand. So that means if you have a LinkedIn page, look at how that's communicating what your company is like as a place to work. And then so that's it. Think about your brand. And then the second thing is think about the people who are working for you right now. Ask them the question, why are you working here? Why do you stay? What could we do differently? And more importantly, do you know anyone else who you think would be a good fit for our organisation? Those things everybody can do, whether you've got 2 people or 200.
I think we talk about advertising through your own channel. So people have an email list or they have a connection list on LinkedIn. And when we're recruiting, people tend to go to like boards, right? Is it smart for people to be then broadcasting to their community that they're looking? Because there's 2 edges to that. One is I don't want to tell people that we're short-staffed. I don't want people to know the inner workings of my business. What are your thoughts on communicating that we're growing and we need people? And if you know someone, please send them our way to your community.
Do whatever you can and whatever you have to. No, I think people will be happy for you.
Yeah.
They'll certainly be interested in what you're doing. We don't hesitate to put the message out there because the people who you're connected to know you best. They'll know your organisation, and chances are they might know someone who's going to be a good fit. So no, don't be shy. This is a market where you have to be putting your best foot forward.
Yeah.
It is an employee-led market, not an employer-led market.
Yeah.
So you have to be getting out there so people can see you when they are looking.
Right. So the suggestions are get into your communication channel. So where you normally go prospecting for clients, you should also be prospecting for employees.
Absolutely right, David. And your website as well. Your website should become your premium window into your company. One of our clients recently redid all of their videos about the employee experience, what it's like to work here. And they went around interviewing people right across the whole range of roles.
Interesting.
And now if you go on their website, you can see pictures of people who are in real jobs and you can listen to their story.
Right. So not only are we putting customer testimonials on, we're putting employee testimonials up as well.
Absolutely.
There's a website, Glassdoor. You guys would be familiar with Glassdoor. I was introduced to it about a year ago, and someone said, this is where people go who are looking to work for you, to see what it's like working there. So it's quite interesting when you go there and you see comments by employees about their employer, because they can be positive and negative. But I think people...
Yeah, because they can be anonymous, so that's where they can actually leave a proper feedback, how the experience has been with the organization. So it's a really good insight into a company. It's a good platform. Pretty much spot on, And when you're hiring someone, first of all, in today's market, it's no longer about the money. Mm-hmm. Everyone is willing to throw money. Every company is willing to throw money. We've got contractors $1,000, $1,200, $1,500 a day. It's no more about the money for them. It's all about the culture, the work environment, the clarity, the flexibility. That's what they're looking at. So when you're hiring someone now, I would 100% recommend not to play on money. That we're going to pay you. If you're getting 150, we're going to pay you 200. It's not going to work. Okay. So first of all, have clarity, have a very clear vision of what you need. First of all, your brand name, is it in the right place? Are you portraying the right messages across?
Yes.
Right. Have a look at your company reviews everywhere. What do other people talk about you? What are they saying? Secondly, clarity about the role and what the challenges are. What are you looking for? Because sometimes I feel like every company is looking for a purple unicorn. There aren't any. Okay. So the chances are, if what are the transferable skills at this when there's a skill shortage?
Yeah.
What skills can I bring in? And maybe that person's 70, 80% out there, but they'll appreciate the opportunity that you give them to learn and develop and grow into that role. Right?
Yeah, right.
Or there could already be people within your organization who've been there for 5 years, for 10 years, that you could retrain them, you could upskill them, give them that opportunity, That's the first thing about having that clarity, what you need, right? For a role, for a certain piece of work, like I work in project-based environment as well. Sometimes you don't always need a gun to do the job, Sometimes all you need is someone with like 2 years, 3 years, 5 years experience to just do that support work.
Yeah.
I spoke to a gentleman yesterday. Now he's an absolute gun. He's been in the industry 20 years doing the systems.
Yeah.
He got hired for they said we're going to have a project and all. Now he's working support role. 1 month into the role, he wants to leave the organization and they're paying him top dollars. This is a mining firm and they're paying him top dollars, but he doesn't need the money. He's like, my skills are not being utilized. I'm being underutilized right now.
I was having this conversation with one of my kids. He's 31 years old, and he said, when I hear stories about you and mum working, you went to go for a job so you could pay the bills, so we could sort of grow up and have like survival, like so the lower end of Maslow's hierarchy. He goes, in our world, it's all about self-actualization. We look for jobs where we can make a difference. And this whole idea of recruiting on purpose, and I just read a book on this topic, super interesting. And it said, people are very interested in what is the purpose of your company and what are the values of your company and do they align with who I am in the marketplace? And I think unless we're communicating that out through our recruitment channel, it comes down to dollars. And you're right, when people go to a job because of the money, they'll leave because of the money as well.
That's true. Absolutely. And, when we interview candidates, I interview them every single day.
Yeah.
The first and foremost thing at the top of my mind is trying to get a very clear understanding of what do they want in their career? What are they looking for?
Yeah.
What's their family circumstances? What is it? Flexibility? Is it career growth? Is it learning and development opportunities?
Right.
And what's the long-term plan for their career? Where do you want to go? And can I, as an organization, as an employer, can I offer that to that person? If I can't, if I'm looking for a short-term, maybe just trying to put out some fires here and there, but I'm trying to hire someone, that's not going to be a right fit, for both of us. It has to work both ways.
Yeah.
And just having that clear conversation with every candidate, it's like in the beginning of the process, it just makes things so much more easier down the line, And then you share your vision. This is what we're trying to do. This is what we're trying to achieve.
Yeah, fantastic.
When you do bring them in, then that's when Andy's point comes in. It's all about, people, like, it's so true. People don't leave companies, they leave managers. Right. So it's all about having as a manager, as a leader, your job is actually to serve the people below you or working with you or for you. Like no one works for you. Everyone works for themselves. Right. So but as a leader, your job is to basically understand, are you helping them achieve what they want to achieve in their career?
So Andrew, you had something to jump in.
Yeah. It was a quick story about what AK was talking about around this is, I guess, more about retaining, but certainly in your mind when you're recruiting someone. So I've had my current team have all been with me for close to a year. We sort of had a change of hierarchy. People have been here for quite a while, and then we've sort of rechanged. And I've had conversations with one in particular. And when we brought on, initially the role was an account manager role where it was doing a whole bunch of different things. And anyway, 8 months later, I had a conversation and she sort of said, oh, look, it's burnt me out. Because it's not structured. There's lots of things happening. We're doing all these sort of things, and it made me sort of stop and think. Well, she's actually started her own business on the side. Selling coffee products, and that's a passion of hers because it's linked to a whole bunch of personal values and stuff. And I kind of looked back and said, well, you know what? Maybe I need to adapt and think that role isn't going to work in the current environment. I need to streamline things. So the result of having those conversations and being a bit open is, a much more streamlined role, a much more streamlined offering, which is better for everyone. And I think that when you're thinking about what people want now in jobs, well, quite a few of them, if they're entrepreneurial, will be having things that they want to do outside of it. And it could be things like family, but also it could be side businesses. So I think, that 9 to 5, you'll work with me, you'll just be your focus. Yes, it can still happen, but I don't think people today they want to they want to express themselves in different ways. So I don't know if it's the same with everyone in the conversation, but that's what I've noticed. It opened up my eyes anyway.
Agreed. And look, if you were to stand back and have a look at what's going on here, we've come out of 2 years of disruption. There's no question that the last 2 years have had a major impact on people, employers and employees together. But what we're emerging into now is a real radical transformation in the way that we work. And it's a change, and it's a change that you can either look at and go, I won't do anything, I'll wait until it gets back to the way it was, or you can embrace it. Now, I'd say this change is here for good. And the employers, I think, who will be successful in attracting and retaining the people that they need and want, are going to be the ones who embrace the change. So they'll start to be flexible in their requirements. I think I saw a number the other day which said people currently employing, 80% have had to make some adjustment to their expectations around the person or the experience level or the skills that they brought in compared with what they were asking for.
Yeah.
So it might be in terms of that some people want to work 4 days a week, as Andrew said. Well, maybe they can get 5 days work done in 4. Think of it like that. If people do want more money, maybe they can add more value.
So
we do have to start thinking more openly.
Yeah, it's very interesting, Warren, because there's two things. Someone's Paul Johnson's just asked, could we know who's on the panel? So I haven't managed to get the names on the screen. So if you can maybe just mention who you are and how people can reach out to you, that'd be great. I'll tag you in the recording, and next time we'll get this system working properly. But while we're doing that, you touched on two things that are really important, and I think one of them is, and AK talked about this as well, is people are moving from hourly rate. Right? They're moving to productivity-based or performance-based recognition and reward. And it gives people a feeling of contributing as opposed to showing up to work, clocking in, clocking out. So I think the landscape is changing from the industrial age of where people get paid for their 40-hour week to a productivity age where you get paid for the value you add to the organisation. But the other side of that is the organisation's responsibility to identify how to measure and how to attract people that actually feel they can contribute. Because the old job description, I think, is dead. The old, you will work from 9 till 5, you'll have 30 minutes for lunch. That works on a production line, but I don't think it works in the knowledge industry that we're in right now. It really, we're starting to move to this, are you adding value to our cause or to our organisation? And if you are, how do we know? And how do we give you the creativity, like to say, look, your job is to add value and you work out the best way to do it.
David, it's what I call deconstructing jobs. I think job descriptions do have a place, but what we have to really focus them on is, is what's the contribution, what's the purpose of that role? Because there are many ways of skinning a cat, as they say. You can go about it, and people with technology skills and other skills can actually find new and better ways of doing things.
Yeah.
So the job description still has a place, but it is very much, especially in a remote working environment now, where people may be working 2-3 days a week from home. It is very much about, what can they achieve in that time? And how can we make best use of people, even when we're not watching what they're doing?
Yes, absolutely. Look, we're sort of coming close to the half hour. What I do want to do is make sure you guys give people some sort of way to reach out to you. So maybe website, contact details, LinkedIn profile. How do you want to sort of communicate who you are and how people can access you? Who's going to go first?
Well, for me, it's Andy Marmont on LinkedIn, or website is Concurves with a Q.
Yeah.
CONQURVE.com.au.
Yep. Fantastic.
That's me.
Can I just get you to, after we finish today, just jump on the post and put your contact details into the comments below? Next time we'll make sure we've got this fixed. AK, yours is going to be harder.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm 24/7 on LinkedIn. Always active.
Yeah.
Always hiring. That's what I'm doing. So always hiring. Always looking for people. You know. So LinkedIn is the best way to reach out to me, and I'll put my details below. It's Akansh Prasai, and my website is Talent Crowd. So talentcrowd.com.au. You can either send us a message, or just DM me on LinkedIn, and I'm more than happy to connect with people. And good people always refer good people.
Yeah.
Right. So
And look, I suppose Meet the Pros is all about addressing the current issues, and especially for the service-based business. So if anyone's got anything they'd like to find out more about, anything that's challenging them right now, into the comments, and we'll make sure that we bring that up in future episodes. We're going to be running this at 12 o'clock every Thursday until further notice, until we can sort of help address a lot of these issues. Warren, what's the best way for people to contact you?
Thanks, Dave. Yes, it's Warren Howard, and I'll keep it easy. It's howardco.com.au.
Yeah.
We are specialists in recruitment, human resource management and development, and executive coaching and leadership. So love to hear any questions that anyone has. Please feel free to contact us, warren@howardco.com.au. And thank you, David.
Yeah, look, I really appreciate everyone's time today. This is our second go at broadcasting this kind of show live. I think there is a need to get immediate information to people rather than recording and editing and posting. We're looking to engage more with people, so interaction-wise. Anyone who's got any comments, we can see them coming up on the screen. I really want to thank each and every one of you. Thank you, Warren, for your time today. Thank you, Andy, and thank you, AK, for giving us some great insight. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much. Cheers, guys.
Okay, Ingrid. Cheers.